A very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the globe. You're welcome to Global TV's news cycle, live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Judith Peters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said education in Nigeria's primary choose against poverty. The president also noted that his administration remained determined to embrace the prospect of digital economy and telecommunications, which he described as the future. Tinubu, who received a delegation from global tech giant Google, said his administration would leverage digital technology to create Nigerians' desired socio-economic progress that is necessary to transform society. He called on Google to partner with the government on the use of data in the public sector to enhance service delivery. The prospective use of computing must be enhanced, even as he emphasized that development is achieved in stages. Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa Abuja has in attendance governors from across the Federation and other stakeholders. The meeting is expected to address some of the pertinent economic challenges in the country occasioned by the removal of petrol subsidy. Also expected to be discussed are security challenges across the country with recent attacks in some parts of the north. Journalists have been excused from the meeting and are written to be briefed on the outcome. The next meeting comes about 24 hours after the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) announced that it secured a 3 billion naira emergency crude repayment loan from African Export-Import Afreximbank. Also, the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will on Monday, August 21st, 2023, swear in his ministers. The event is billed to hold at a State House conference of Aso Rock in Abuja by 10 a.m. A statement on Wednesday by the Director Information Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Willie Bassi, said the ministers are allowed to come with 2 requests each. The scheduled arraignment of the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja on allegation bordering on 6.9 billion naira procurement fraud has been stalled due to the absence of second defendant, Saidat Yaro. Global TV's Sharon Ajiri reports that counsel to the federal government and Director of Public Prosecution of the Federation, Mohammed Abubakar, told Justice Hamza Muazo that Mrs. Saidat Yaro took ill in the morning, hence unable to make it to the court.
Mahazu subsequently fixed August 23rd for the arraignment. Emefiele, who entered the court with white kaftan, made frantic efforts to evade cameramen in and outside the court. While the prosecution counsel declined interview, defense counsel provided insight of what happened in the court.
The charge was filed in Lagos. In the wisdom of the complainants, the federal government of Nigeria, they decided to withdraw that charge. A ruling is being expected this morning before the Federal High Court in Lagos in respect of that application to withdraw that charge. Now they brought another charge before the FCT High Court, a 20-count charge against the same person, against the same embattled governor of the Central Bank. And one other person. Now, the matter was meant for arraignment this morning, but 2 things played out, which clearly showed that the complainant itself was not ready for the arraignment. The second defendant was not made available. The second defendant was not in court. And it is right that all the defendants in a charge must be present to take their plea. And consequently, the complainant on its own requested for an adjournment for the arraignment to be done at a later date. And so we didn't oppose that application. The arraignment will now come up on Wednesday, 23rd of this month, Wednesday 23rd.
Operative of the Department of State Service, DSS, who brought Emefiele to court under a heavy watertight security to avoid security breaches, returned him to their custody immediately after the proceedings.
Thank you, Sandri. And still on the news, the military high command says no fewer than 3 officers, 22 soldiers were killed in Niger State, while 7 were wounded in action by terrorists. Major General Edward Buba, the Director of Defense Media Operations, reviewed this at Defense Headquarters while keeping the journalists abreast with the operational activities of the Nigerian military in the theater of operation in Abuja. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
Major General Edward Buba stated that the Nigerian Air Force helicopter that crashed in Shiroro area of Niger State had gone to the scene to evacuate the victims before it crashed. He, however, vowed that no group could attack its troops and go scot-free, adding that the 14 previously killed soldiers were in the jet during the crash.
Discover what caused the plane crash. After that, you can be sure that that will be communicated to all of us. To use superior military force to eliminate any group or groups that constitute a threat to the safety of citizens and armed forces alike. Lastly, I will say that no group will strike armed troops without injurious consequences.
The Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Edward Gaboit, called on those aiding and abetting the propaganda tendencies of terrorists by spreading the video of the alleged crashed site with gory pictures of dead military personnel to stop, saying such action can demoralize the troops.
The Nigerian Armed Forces have continued to be very open about its operations, and accidents in military operations are nothing for any military organization to be ashamed of. We're fighting an insurgency, and if anybody thinks insurgency is something that is tackled in such an easy way, then you should go back to the history books and find out how other nations have been facing the same problem. What we see in other countries is the citizens of those countries rallying around the armed forces and supporting them. But when we come back home, it's so unfortunate what we see some of our citizens do. It's as if there is a kind of joy that we derive when the armed forces have this kind of mishaps. What do we get from that? Are we going to be happy for these terrorists to come and, override our communities, take over our communities? Is that what we want? Where is it?
Speaking on the troops' operation, the Director of Defense Media Operations says during the week under review, the military neutralized 28 terrorists, arrested 92, 6 gun runners, 3 kidnappers, 6 collaborators, and 7 perpetrators of oil theft.
Troops also rescued 82 kidnapped hostages and denied oil thieves the estimated value of over 870 million naira. Troops equally recovered 108 weapons and 556 ammunition.
He noted that the ongoing operation is aimed at curtailing the activities of violent extremist groups fomenting insecurity in the country, adding that the troops will continue to respond with overwhelming military force to any group that threatens the safety of citizens and the nation forces. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News, Abuja.
Kikelomo Okere. Still on the news, the Nigerian Medical Association NMA Benue State Chapter on Wednesday called on government at all levels, political leaders and traditional rulers to help in the release of one of their members abducted 3 weeks ago. A medical doctor, Dr. Asema Nsuga, was abducted in the Ukom local government area of the state 3 weeks ago while he was embarking on a malaria program supervision at a primary health care center. The association, in a statement signed by its chairman, Dr. Nshukuma Nega, stated that the abduction doctor was the only medical doctor at the General Hospital Sankera, adding that he had been in captivity for 25 days. The NMA threatens to down tools if the kidnapped medical doctor was not released. Also, the Federal Road Safety Co. FROSC on Thursday advised motorists to replace worn-out tires and whisper in order to prevent affordable auto crashes during the raining season. The FRSC spokesman, Assistant Corp Marshal BC Kazim, who made the call in Abuja, advised drivers to always ensure their vehicles are in good working condition before embarking on a journey. He also advised that the windshield wiper and blades should also be checked for proper functioning. Kazim also appealed to motorists to shun negative attitudes and habits like drunk driving, smoking of herb and cannabis, dangerous driving, overloading, exceeding speed limit or use of phones while driving. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan yesterday urged African economy to key into technology-intensive global supply chain to boost prosperity. The organization made the call during the launch of a new report which highlighted that the continent could become a major exporter of higher value-added goods, creating growth, jobs, and fueling a rise in productivity and ages. Greenspan insisted that the move would offer a better future for African economies, adding that diversification is key to private sector development and employment opportunities for the continent's growing population. She highlighted factors driving the huge opportunity for Africa to include countries and businesses seeking to diversify their supplies and reduce risk. Also, the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, yesterday disclosed that the oil rig, which capsized on Tuesday at Owo in Warri, Delta State, had been operating on the nation's water illegally since 2016. In a press statement by the head of public relations of the agency, Osagie Edward, on Wednesday said the Majestic rig belonging to Depthways Nigeria Limited had been operating since 2016 without requisite approval from the regulator agency. According to him, the NIMASA has, however, dispatched a team of search and rescue and marine accident investigation officers to the scene of the incident. You're watching Global TV News Cycle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do well to follow us across our social media platform on Global TV NG. Also, we're on Star Times on channel 276. We'll be back after the short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's on the news on Global Television and, of course, it's News Cycle. The Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited on Wednesday announced that it had secured a 3 billion naira million emergency crude oil repayment loan from the African Export-Import Bank. He said the loan would be used by the oil company to support the federal government in stabilizing Nigeria's exchange rate. It was also gathered that the facility would also help in reducing the pump price of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol. Impeccable sources at the oil firm also told our respondent that the loan would boost the imports of petrol into Nigeria, as oil marketers further confirmed that the facility would tackle the seeming emergency of subsidy on petrol. Nigeria exchange rate has been an issue of concern lately, with the dollar rising to over 910 naira at the parallel market, while oil dealers have been complaining of non-liquid nature of the importers and exporter official window of the Central Bank of Nigeria. More than 60 people have fared dead after a boat carrying migrants was found off Cape Verde in West Africa. There's on the forensic 38 people, including children, were rescued, with footage showing them being helped ashore. Some off stretchers on the island of Sal, almost all those on board the boat, which was set sea for over a month, are those to have been from Senegal. Cape Verde officials have called for global action on migration to help prevent further loss of life. The vessel was first spotted on Monday. Police told the AFP news agency initial report suggested that the boat had sunk, but it was later clarified that it had been found drifting. The wooden Paraguay-style boat was seen almost off Sal, a part of Cape Verde, by a Spanish fishing boat, which then alerted authorities. Police said the survivors include 4 children aged between 12 and 16. A spokesperson for the International Organization for Migration said the boat left the Senegalese fishing village of Faz Boye on 10th July with 101 people on board, Senegal's foreign minister said on Tuesday, citing survivors. Also, the world's longest rail tunnel has been shut to passenger services after a derailment in Switzerland, causing damage that will take months to repair. Swiss authorities said there was no indication when the Gotthard Base Tunnel would reopen. 16 carriages derailed and are still stuck inside. A week after the derailment on 10 August opened in 2016, the Gotthard rail link took 20 years to build and cost more than $12 billion. National Swiss Rail Operators SBB Chief Executive Vincent Ducrot said on Wednesday that Gotthard has one of the safest tunnels in the world. An investigation is being led by the Swiss Transportation Safety Investigation Board STSB and the Public Prosecutor's Office of the Canton of Ticino. Rail Operators SBB said its total around 8 kilometers of truck and 20,000 concrete sleepers need to be replaced. One of the largest cities in Canada's far north is being evacuated amid warnings that a wildfire could reach it by the weekend. The 20,000 residents of Yellowknife, the capital of Northwest Territories, have been given until noon Friday to leave. As of late Wednesday, the fire was within 7 kilometers or 11 miles of the city. Another fire is threatening the community of A River. One evacuee told the CBC her car began melting as she and her family drove through embers while fleeing the town. The Northwest Territories declared a state of emergency late on Tuesday as it battles more than 200 wildfires. Shane Thompson, Environment Minister, told a press conference on Wednesday that the fires are taking another turn for the worse and now represented a real threat to Yellowknife. Also, more than 100 people have been arrested in a city in East Pakistan after thousands of Muslims burned churches and vandalized homes. Violence in Jarawala was sparked by claims that 2 Christian men had torn pages from the Quran. The historic Salvation Army Church was still smoldering on Thursday, one day after the riots. Runs have been surrounded with barbed wire as the situation remains tense in the city. Public gatherings have also also been restricted for 7 days in Faizabad district, which includes Jaranwali. The 2 men accused of damaging the Quran, Islam's holy book, have not been arrested, though they have been charged to blasphemy, which is punishable by death in Pakistan. Even though Pakistan has yet to sentence anyone to death for blasphemy, a mere accusation can result in widespread riots, sometimes leading to lynching and killings. A local official told BBC Urdu that authorities had received call about protests and fire early on Wednesday morning after reports about the desecration of the Quran circulated on social media in the city. Authorities said torn pages of the sacred text was blasphemous content allegedly scribbled on them in red market ink were found. The House of Representatives Committee on Sports on Wednesday pledged to wade into the crisis of over unpaid bonuses to national football teams player by the Nigeria Football Federation. Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Sports, Ekene Abubakar, stated this in Abuja at a meeting with the NFF at the National Assembly complex. The committee and the Federation agreed to work together to find lasting solutions to the recurring issue of unpaid bonuses of all national teams players. When asked to explain the issue surrounding the non-payment of Super Falcons player in their recent World Cup outing, NFF President Ibrahim Gusau said the money owed the players would be paid as soon as the Federation received grants from FIFA. More on sports, Fidelis Yegowener is standing by with an update. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle. Do not forget we're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. On behalf of the production team, I am Judith Peters. Thank you so very much for watching. Have a pleasant day.